Check podcasts.
The Bread and Butter Collective is a collection of hospitality professionals working together to help strengthen our industry to build strong culture, community, and sustainability.
I'm Kalen McNeil.
And I'm Sam Jones. And this is the Bread and Butter Podcast.
Welcome to the Bread and Butter Podcast. How are you, Sam?
I'm great, Kaylin. How are you doing?
I'm punchy today.
Punchy? Yeah. That's my job.
I probably
usually
need a punch in the face or something.
No.
But don't hit anybody.
No, I would never.
No.
Especially you.
Yeah. How are you? How was your week?
Oh, this was pretty good.
It's been 2 weeks, actually.
I guess so. Yeah. I think I almost broke my coffee roaster on Family Day and had to...
Is that the new coffee one?
No, the one that I'm still using.
Yeah, you're still using.
So I panicked a bit on Family Day and worked like 12 hours. But I fixed it. I pulled horseshoes out of my butt and glued them to the roaster, and it works great. And then last night, I took advantage of $5 movie night. Did you know that Tuesdays are cheap movie nights again?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So like at the main theater?
Yeah. So I went to Silver City and I saw the Bob Marley.
Oh,
movie.
Cool. Was it good?
Yes, it was good. I love Bob Marley, and so I was disappointed in the fact that they didn't show him all the love that I think he deserved. I still got goosebumps in parts of the movie, though, so that's a good sign of a good movie.
So it wasn't a big
Hollywood
enough tribute to Bob Marley.
Well, they couldn't get it all in.
Yeah.
Really,
I mean,
and that's not their
story.
fault. It is. But you know what was the big story there was? There was a theater full of people. Like, it was full. $5. It's like, bring the $5 movie back.
Yeah, $5.
And I'll go again.
That's pretty cheap, actually.
It was great. I mean, I can't spend $20 on a movie. I'd rather wait for it to stream in 2 weeks.
Absolutely. You know who else can't spend $20 in a movie?
Who's that?
Our guest today.
Really?
Sterling
We've got a guest?
Grice. We do.
Sadly, I go to the movie very often.
Do you?
I do, yeah.
I used to go to movies like when we actually were expanding into the new Zabris.
Oh, you were
like
across the street?
Yeah, and I was just like, I can't take the pressure of it anymore. And I would just walk across the street, go to the movie. Then the movie would be over, be like, oh, there's another one starting. And it would be like, where's Kalen? Oh, he must be in a meeting. But no, I'm over at the movie. Then I come back, I'm like, but the movie actually cleared my head.
100%.
And even though I can't really tell you what the movie was or any of the movies were, it actually allowed you to think and process in peace, which it's kind of like, when you're on the toilet, I guess. And
you doom scroll on the toilet?
Yeah, you doom scroll for an hour.
For me,
you come out with all the answers. Or the shower. Everyone's got their place.
Wow, you need a good waterproof phone?
Oh, buddy. My phone is waterproof, and I have my iPad on sometimes on the windowsill.
Nice. I play music in the shower.
Nice.
That's nice.
We might have crossed the line here. We're going down a direction we don't
You know what crossing the line is? You asking me to sing what I sing in the shower.
Yeah, no, I would cross. I don't want to know. Sterling. Okay, Sterling's a restaurateur, a longtime restaurateur. He's also worked in the service sector. Worked for Brasserie L'École for a number of years. Also co-owner of Foo, One Pandora. Also co-owner of the new Pinhalla. That's on Fizgard.
It is on Fizgard.
And yeah, we're excited to have him on. He's been around for a long time. He's been a good friend of ours for years. He's part of the Bread and Butter Collective. He's on the board of the Bread and Butter Collective. So he's donated a bunch of his time in the spirit of cooperation amongst restaurateurs. He's super successful. He's like any other, any other entrepreneur goes through the same bumps and lumps as you have. You've had businesses that have succeeded. You've had businesses that have failed.
True.
You've sold businesses. Like, these are all really good lessons. So we're going to dive into it.
Sounds good.
Sterling,
We've got lots to teach.
give us your background. How did you get into the hospitality business?
When I was 14 years old, my friend started working, and it seemed like a good idea at the time. And one of my buddies got a job as a dishwasher at Patty Joe's, which is a 24-hour truck stop in Campbell River, British Columbia.
Oh, I forgot Campbell River, yeah.
And I applied for a job, and they hired me as a busboy. And he quit because I got hired after him, and he was a dishwasher. So all of a sudden, I'm working at this place without my buddy.
Oh, your buddy quit?
Yeah, he was so pissed off that they started me as a busboy like 3 days after they hired him as a dishwasher.
Well, it should have maybe told you. Are you still friends with him?
Oh, I know.
Yeah,
it's not that I have ill feelings, but like different paths.
Yeah.
It's kind of telling, though, that they would be able to pick that out from you. at age 14, or maybe it wasn't telling. Maybe that's how you develop your skills of hospitality.
Well, I didn't know it at the time, but they are friends of our family. So as soon as I finished my interview, they called my dad and said, "I'll cue up," because I was like so tiny. I was like 4'7" in my little tie and dress clothes, and like he had no idea. He walked in and had the job, and I like, yeah. Anyways,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
So it was nepotism.
It was definitely.
Well, you need a little nepotism.
But that being said, I definitely proved myself in very short order. And after I was there for 11 months and became a server by the age of 15, which I don't know if it's actually legal.
Yeah, no.
Wow.
Well, maybe back in the day.
And I was doing the graveyard shift, which was in the summer.
That's definitely illegal.
Yeah.
So you're also serving alcohol at 15?
I did serve alcohol at 15, but also let me tell you, the after bar crush was... And I'd have like 18 tables. It was horrible.
Crazy.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, that's where you got your feet wet in the whole thing.
100%.
That would be, you'd learn all the ropes back then.
Yeah, I learned some tough lessons for sure.
So then you took quick bio. You went from there to...
Well, I was serving the food and beverage manager of Painter's Lodge, which is a Oak Bay Marine Group property.
Yeah.
And they offered me a job. They came in late night. I was doing the graveyard shift, and they watched me navigating a room full of drunk people, running literally, and they hired me to go work at Oak Bay, Painter's Lodge.
And they're
Lodge,
like, here's a 15-year-old we can take advantage of.
Dude, when I walked in that place, it was like beautiful. I was just
you were probably
gobsmacked. Yeah, I was.
But what a great, learning curve, right? Like getting slammed by the late night drunk crowd, then going to at the time was a very fine dining upper end establishment.
Totally.
Right?
It was really neat to learn both
Yeah,
sides.
global travelers too. You're probably dealing with a lot of Germans and
Europeans, but also there was stars. I think what the heck? I can't even think of his name. One of the biggest old comedians of the day was there when it's gone.
It's gone. It's gone. I
told you I had a hole in my head.
Yeah. We can start guessing some names.
There's new information somewhere before between them there. So Painter's Lodge was were you there
Eddie
seasonally?
Murphy?
No way older.
Bob Saget.
No, wait, dude, guys, we're talking when we're 15 years old here. Bob Saget was he would have been 10. Older.
Ooh.
Oh my God.
Anyway,
I don't know any other Bobs.
Did he perform with Carol Burnett?
I think might have even had his own show.
Oh
wow.
Okay. Well, there we go. Okay.
It'll come to me.
Okay.
And
Sorry, all
a great
the
surprise
viewers, if it doesn't happen or during this meeting. But,
maybe we can give your personal phone number out, and when people can call you and find out. Maybe.
I love phone calls.
So you're at Painter's Lodge. How long were you there for?
4 seasons.
Oh wow.
As Sam Act. When I first got hired, that was supposed to be all year round, and then at the end of the summer, around October, they decided this is not working. So they shut down, and then because Kelm River is so small, I got offered 2 jobs by other fine dining local restaurants.
Oh, fantastic!
So I did one of those for a little while, and
so you bounced between Painter's Lodge and then the
other jobs
in Kelm River. When did you come to Victoria?
I went to Vancouver first.
Oh, Vancouver,
6 years. Yeah, I went to college.
Oh, okay,
and so now you're 20.
I graduated when I was 17.
Oh, geez.
Just because I'm a summer birthday, so.
Oh, it's not because you're so smart.
No, I'm not that smart. As you might all find out soon enough. But
ridiculous.
Yeah, so I just went to live. My mom and her husband had moved to Coquitlam, so I went and lived in their basement for a few years, and then moved into downtown Vancouver and had some adventures.
Yeah.
Did you do service there as well?
I did. Yeah. Nothing really exciting. I worked at the old spaghetti factory for 3.5 years.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Listen, those places are they're teaching, the skills of the trade, and they've been around a long time. They've got some systems. I mean, food quality maybe. I mean, not slagging.
Oh, hey, they do what they do.
They do.
I think they've increased their prices in the last 30 years by like $2.
Oh yeah, it's good value for sure.
Yeah, you get the salad, or soup, the entree, bread, at dessert.
Yeah,
coffee or tea.
I haven't been there in a long time. Last time I was there, I thought that my bolognese tasted like organ meat.
Oh God,
we sell organ meat at Zambri sometimes.
Yeah, well, and I don't mind that.
That is organ meat.
I like being aware of it. I know what I'm eating.
If there's like too much iron, you're like, what's going on?
Is that urea I'm tasting?
Yeah.
Well, part and parcel, when Grant would put the tongue sandwich on, it would sell out almost every day.
Yeah. Well, there's a real market for people that understand that type of food. You know, there is a market.
Well, and those who actually know how to execute a property.
Yeah,
too.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
I would do a tongue sandwich in a minute.
Yeah.
My dad used to love tongue sandwich, slice real thin. Oh my God.
So you were a long time server at Brasserie Le Cole. How many years did you work at Brasserie Le Cole?
I worked at Brasserie Le Cole for 8 years.
8 years.
And
That
did you
was-
open it where you there from like the opening
No.
times, or did you go into it?
No, my first restaurant that I ever opened was the Mint,
Oh, the Mint.
and
yes.
we opened like 6 months after Brass.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So that would have been like 2000, 2001,
2002. I think.
2002. Yeah.
And you have partners at the Mint?
I did. Yeah, I was
Obviously.
one of 4, I think.
Are any of those partners still there?
No,
Because I know Michael was a
Michael was the guy
one of
who
the partners.
basically brought us all together.
Yeah.
Okay.
The Mint was his
Mike, and that's Michael
Garner.
Garner.
Yeah,
Mm.
this is awesome.
Yeah, he's a
Thanks.
smart and charismatic and interesting individual.
He
Yeah.
really is. Yeah.
He definitely listens to or hears music that I don't hear, which is really cool because
Mm.
like in my opinion, the Mint in some ways was very ahead of its time. He
Yeah.
he rocked old school cocktails before mixology even existed.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they were cutting edge for sure.
Yeah.
He was the place, or the Mint was a place that all of us servers and kitchen folks used to go to after hours.
Yeah,
Because it was open late and there was a fight club out back and
Yeah.
their drinks
Is
were
the
strong.
Mint still going?
Sure is.
It is, right? It's
So,
still what?
There's
yeah.
only one partner left.
Yeah.
But he's the partner who bought my shares when I decided. I
Oh,
didn't want
wow.
it. So he actually wasn't a partner at the time. He was just our friend who was helping us
Yeah.
as an employee.
Hmm.
Actually, Michael, he had a business where he imported handmade paper from Nepal.
Okay.
Oh, interesting.
And it was his importer's son and his son's wife who came to help us open the restaurant. And then they bought my shares, and now they're the only partners left.
That's
Wow.
why it's this crazy Nepalese
That's
restaurant, right? With
Well, because
momos
that's why
and-
Michael loved, like he loved Nepal, right?
Yeah.
Did you serve there as well?
No, so before the Mint, I worked at Steamer's Pub.
Oh, of course. Jeez.
So-
Another
Yeah,
staple
yeah,
in the
yeah.
industry.
Yeah, right.
Oh my god.
my God.
Yeah, no, I miss Steamer's for sure.
Seavers was awesome.
Cheap
it's like
pints.
Yeah.
a real dive bar, but
Yeah,
live
a
music.
dive bar in right downtown
Yeah.
Victoria, which is incredible.
It was probably
Yeah.
the most fun and best job I ever had in my life.
Yeah.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I can believe that.
Who owns Steamers?
Andrew Wickens, the Wickens family, they had partners for sure,
Yeah.
but Andrew's little brother Stuart started it, and then he passed away.
Oh,
So Andrew, to help the family out with his wife, came to temporarily run it until they decided what to do, and then ended up staying and running it for years.
yeah.
And I think after he sold it, he realized how much he loved it.
Yeah. you forget, right? Now, did you, because it closed, were you there? Well,
No.
before it closed, you're done, right?
Well, so the Mint opened while
Yeah.
Steamers was still going strong. And then I sold my shares in the Mint and went to live in Southeast Asia for 3 years.
Wow.
Oh.
So I just want to talk a little bit about that transition. So from being a server to being an owner.
Sure.
So you knew you wanted to maybe have your own business, or
Well,
did it
yeah.
look like a good investment at the time? Like, did it end up being a good investment?
I
have so many
mean,
questions.
Okay, so my dad is a contractor. He owns a couple logging, not anymore. He's retired, but at one point he had up to 3 logging trucks. Not that he only ever worked one of them, but he was always his own boss.
Yeah.
And like when I was a kid, I managed a parking lot sweeping company in Kelm River. And
Oh, nice.
the guy wanted to sell it, and my dad was really encouraging me to buy it.
Yeah.
And then I ran over a kid on a bike and lost my driver's license. so I
Oh,
couldn't do the job anymore.
no.
Yeah,
Was the kid okay?
he was, but I actually did it on purpose, which is the anyways,
oh well,
that's-
then I don't feel bad anymore.
Okay,
It's like, oh,
I
You
tried
got to
giving-
tell the story.
Okay.
deserved it.
it was a lunch break. We were heading to the store. This kid on his bike was in front of me on the road, and he was swerving the whole road.
Yeah, just taking up.
Yeah, on
Being a
purpose.
jerk.
He was being a dick.
Yeah.
So, and he's looking over his shoulder, giving me the face. So we get to a 4-way stop, and he straddles his bike and turns around and gives me the double fingers.
Oh,
So-
well, there you go. You're gonna get ran over.
Fuck you. And, oh, no, sorry. Probably
You're
shouldn't have
good,
said
you're
that.
good, you're good.
So I decided to give the kid a bump. And at this point, I've had my license for like 3 days. So I popped the clutch, and my car climbed over his bike and squashed it.
Oh,
Well, the best part is there's a police officer at the other 4-way stop who was watching the whole thing.
oh, hilarious. So he's like, all right, I
Yeah,
gotta arrest you, but
woo! So thankfully, Kelm River being a small town, I didn't actually get in any trouble, but my father agreed to take away my driver's license. So I
Oh.
lost the parking lot sweeping company job because there was a company truck and it had
Yeah,
like
yeah.
a big vacuum on it. And yeah, so
oh, well, interesting about sliding doors too, because a little bit of the story, young entrepreneur,
Sure.
wanting to be an entrepreneur. I was going to do this. I had dances. I put on dances. So I'd rent a hall, hire
Nice,
a DJ. And then my friend said, hey, why don't we do the DJ business and get into the DJ business? And I was like a hair whisper from buying, whatever.
Yeah.
I think it was like 10 grand buying this, our DJ, we're going to buy his whole kit.
Sure.
So I would have ended up getting into DJing up in Terrace, which would have taken my life in a whole different direction,
route, yeah.
right? You talk about sliding doors and business opportunities.
Sure.
So having that entrepreneurial spirit, you had the desire, right, early to do that.
Right.
So
Well,
then,
and before the Mint, my current business partner Steve Webb and I, we started what we called AMP Media, Art Music People, and we put on shows.
oh, interesting.
And then we
That's a
started
great
the Great Poster Wars of Victoria.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
And that's where Metropole sprung.
Yeah,
from,
that's right.
We're like, hey, this is ridiculous. Why don't we all sit down and we'll each have one poster that stays on rather than postering 12 of your own posters over the whole thing. And that's where, Metropole was sprung from.
So were you part of the creation of Metropole, or was Metropole created because you were postering over everyone's posters?
So, I don't know what Steve's version of the story is. now.
I like it.
We're talking about 27 years ago or something, right?
yeah.
But we discussed AMP Media becoming
I'm going to
what
say,
Metropole
hey,
is.
Steve, we had Sterling on. He said he created Metropole.
Okay, first
What the
off,
hell?
Steve is one of the smartest, most innovative guys. So I'm not.
I
gonna
love Steve. I love Steve.
He's a genius.
Yeah,
So
Steve's awesome.
I'm not going to say I was the catalyst, but we definitely worked
Collaborated.
through it together
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
It was just ridiculous. Like I said, it was like your poster would be up at one point for like a minute and a half, and then the next guy was wrapping the whole.
Yeah.
So that was the origins of where Metropole came from. And Steve helped me open the Mint, and then he said, "Hey, do you mind if I go do that idea by myself? You're really busy," he says. I'm like, "Hell's yeah, I'm busy. Go do it."
Yeah.
And I even think I lent him the money to get started, but whatever.
Wow, Metropole obviously is a staple, and we use them
Sure.
today. And Steve's been doing that, so it's interesting to see your fingerprints on.
Well, again, I'm not going to take credit, but
listen,
we work together.
yeah. Well, but the thing about it is about even being that person to bounce ideas
Sure.
off, and origin stories of how business gets started. Everybody's got it, but you've navigated quite nicely through a bunch of businesses in town.
And well, now he and I are back together again, which is kind of a cool story.
Yeah, what a come full circle.
Yeah.
So then when you go, so you sell your shares in, so like the partnership end of it, like, was it a good working partnership? Did you learn a bunch of stuff from partner? Because you still are involved in partnerships like me.
Yes. In fairness, like I don't know that I was a great partner.
Yeah.
Michael and I butted heads a lot, and I think there was a lot of youth and ego involved.
Yeah.
As there is in youth.
Yeah, and I had ideas of how I thought things would be, and they really weren't. And we butted heads a lot.
Yeah.
And the truth of the matter was, Michael brought me in, and I, in fairness, I think a lot of the regular customers came because of myself. That was my role. And you talk about it being an industry place. When it would be a lull, I would literally in those days go around to each bar and restaurant in the city and buy a round of shots for the whole staff because it was a different time.
Yeah, exactly.
And then they'd come back down afterwards and pay it forward, right?
Yeah.
And but I just basically realized that Michael and I were on a pretty ugly collision course.
Yeah.
And this was his baby. It wasn't mine.
Yeah.
It was really hard to leave because I feel that.
Well, the heart and soul was in there.
Yeah. And I also felt that, if I wanted to be vindictive, I knew I could have detonated and said, he's a horrible person. And he wasn't.
Yeah.
It's just, again, I was young and arrogant and, anyways, I walked away and didn't say anything to anyone. And it was really hard. And it was a kind of an identity crisis for me. I was really kind of like losing, like you said, something about my heart and soul. And I was working 18 hours a day. I mean, I didn't take a day off for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So it was hard to walk away.
You were obviously in a fairly grown up kind of state of mind, though, to be able to you weren't so youthful and arrogant not to realize what was going on.
Well, we almost came to blows one night. Like, you have to also understand in those days, drinking while working was.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like and the Mint was. Oh my God, we've all been there.
Yeah.
The Mint is just.
It's so dark you can't see what's really
you
going
don't know
on.
what's going on there.
You don't know what's going on behind that bar.
Yeah, well, yeah. So
Or
the Mint
you
was
can infer.
I mean, we had lots of fun times for
Yeah.
sure, but it was just, it was just the right move for me, I think, and I didn't want to take or destroy what Michael his vision and.
Well, I think that's, to me, that is, as I mentioned, a great deal of maturity. And I think that's an understated quality when you look at business partnerships, because everybody gets into the partnership with certain motivations, and recognizing that one person sort of like that got you in, steering the ship, even though you put all your blood, sweat, and tears and probably created a lot of the success.
100% I did.
Yeah. So to walk away from that, recognizing you're on a collision course is mature. Because once you get past that, like, it's just like if you're going to file a lawsuit or if you're in a partnership, you should just be prepared. It's like if I give money to somebody,
you're not getting it back.
I'm giving it to them, even though I've got a loan agreement. And we set the parameters because I'm not going to lose sleep over it. I'm also not going to go through a legal battle to try to recover it. And that's the same with partnerships too, is just understanding what time you need to exit. And then it's like a divorce, like, why are you going to light the whole thing on fire? You shouldn't.
But being young, it took me a while to get to the other side of what you're discussing
for
right
sure.
now. Like, it was a journey, and that's part of what Southeast Asia was for me. I broke up with my long-term girlfriend, fiance, and broke up with Michael.
Oh my God.
And fled. Yeah. So her and I couldn't get back together again. I just needed to go and have a fresh start. So I did.
And what countries did you go to in Southeast Asia?
Well, I lived in Taiwan for 3 years.
Oh, wow.
But I did go to Thailand a lot because it was so close. Sometimes I just go for a long weekend and eat because the food there was so good. I spent quite a bit of time in Cambodia.
Oh, I've been to Cambodia a couple times.
I almost stayed there too. Yeah. I met an Irish guy who owned the only developed island called Bamboo Island, and he had 2 places on the mainland, and he offered me a third of his properties if I'd come and run it for him. And that was a really
wow.
That was a crossroads. Talk about the crossroads. That was a crossroads for me.
So do you look back at that as a regret?
I look back at it and I think about it a lot. But Cambodia is it was a dangerous place.
Yeah, I mean, it still is today.
And if you build something,
it could just be taken away.
Yeah. The way it works is you have to have his silent partner was a 4-star general and the most powerful person in the country.
Yeah.
And that's why he was safe.
Yeah. Well,
but you're at his
until
whim,
he's not
right?
safe.
Yeah.
Well, that's it. You want to know the...
Yeah.
Okay, so the reason I left Cambodia, so Bamboo Island was pretty rustic, but I was, in my mind, having been a promoter and knowing DJs locally, I was thinking about going head to head with, because all the backpackers were coming to Cambodia at this point.
Yeah.
And older, more affluent people were taking over Thailand.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm going to take the full moon parties on and bring them to Bamboo Island. So this guy's got this beautiful hotel on the beach in Sihanoukville. And then he's got these brand new bungalows on this cliffside overlooking the ocean. And
oh, wow.
Stairs cut out of the stone down to this private beach bar. And then you go to Bamboo Island. So I'm like, okay, so one night will be at the private beach bar. The other night will be on Bamboo Island. I'm going to get some of the DJs. Anyway, so he takes me to this beautiful brand new place just built. He's like, I don't know why it's not making any money.
Yeah.
We get there. There's a Khmer guy on a pagoda getting a massage from 2 Khmer ladies. And he's got a pyramid of empty beer cans. And he takes me over and introduces me to this guy. And we shake hands, and the guy looks me in the soul. His eyes were dead.
Yeah.
He's a knife fighter from the Khmer Rouge who's killed tons of people.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm looking at this guy going, this is why you're not making any money. And if I'm the guy who tells you that
this guy,
I'm going to disappear in the forest.
Yeah.
Like, this guy's not going to think twice of like sticking me in the heart and leaving me to rot. You know?
Yeah.
And also my parents were getting older and I wanted to be here and get set up in case they needed me. But the reason it made sense to go home and take care of my parents is because this guy was going to end me.
When you see those dark eyes,
oh my God,
you know.
Well, that's why I went to Cambodia.
Yeah.
I wanted to, we're really lucky where we're from. Like, we've never experienced genocide and I just wanted to go and have a taste of what the real world was like. And it changed me forever. Cambodia was
a journey through the heart of darkness.
That's right.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's Cambodia will change you. It changed me as well. And just, especially when you look at, if you go to Vietnam, you go to Cambodia, you go to Thailand, you go to anywhere else in Southeast Asia, there's a definite difference when you're in Cambodia versus any of those other.
Well, because 50% of the population when I was there was under 18 because
everybody's been killed.
Everyone. Yeah.
Yeah, which is like insanity. But really good food there as well. Good entrepreneurship, right?
Nice
There's a lot of really good entrepreneurs there, and that's one of the things that I really liked about both Vietnam and Cambodia. It's just the energy from the people. They're all happy, and they're living in abject poverty, most of them.
Yeah, there's 10 people in a corrugated steel shack with no running water.
Exactly. But yet they're out on the street playing and happy, you know.
That was a huge message for me.
Yeah.
Really.
And there's no debt.
Yeah.
We support a family in Cambodia, this tuk-tuk driver that we had.
Nice.
And now he's got a car. His daughter's getting married. We helped her go through school.
Amazing.
And it's not to toot our horn, but it's the appreciation that they show and the initiative. Like, even because we're like, oh, if we get him a car, maybe he's not going to work. And we sent him this monthly stipend and like basic income, basically. And he's just out hustling.
Yeah.
Always. And I'm like, wow, that energy and the idea, you know, especially with the basic income idea, I think it's incredible because you actually see, you know, how much it helps them because they know that their housing's covered and their food is covered, and now they can go, you know, build a life for themselves,
100%.
which is
they can see beyond that.
Yeah,
right?
well, they got hope.
Yeah.
Like when you don't have hope, you've got despair, and that's not a building block for success for anybody.
Well, again, as you were talking about the standard, I would be open to discussing, you know, I would be open to discussing.
Yeah.
But if there was a standard of living that every single person was guaranteed in our country, I would be okay with.
Yeah, I mean, I think when you look at
It might be the future.
I think it should be, especially as, you know, AI takes over some jobs, transitions. But we also have a social safety net that costs a lot to administer, or you could just wipe it all out by just saying, okay, every man, woman, and child from the age of 18 on, or whatever the criteria are, gets $1,000 a month. And then now there's no welfare, there's no EI, there's none of that stuff. And I don't know. I'm a dark communist, I guess. I don't know.
I'm a socialist at heart.
Yeah. I mean, I just think there's some application for socialism. I mean, the idea that we don't. I mean, Canada is somewhat of a socialist country.
British Columbia, most definitely.
BC, but look at the United States, and they talk about they've got one of the largest socialist budgets in the world. And what is it? It's their military primarily, and then their Medicare. So, and they all scream about communism and socialism, and it's like, bro, look at yourself.
Totally.
You know.
Yeah.
Well, I read this book. There's a book by Sarah Kendzior who studies kleptocracies and fascism and all this. Really interesting person, and she talked about the Midwest and the amount of federal grants that go to support business in the Midwest. And all these people who are, you know, they're proud of their businesses and super successful. And then they're at this launch and there's this government official there and they borrow the money to the bank, but the bank gets it guaranteed by the government.
Right.
So they would never get the money based on the merits of their thing, but they get, and then they're like, who are you? Oh, I'm with the federal government. Oh, what are you doing here? Anti-government guy? Oh, well, you've got these loans because of the federal government. You wouldn't have them. And I just find it hilarious a little bit, like the irony. And then as a Canadian going there a lot, being, oh, you communist, socialist, whatever. And it's like, oh my God.
Yeah.
It's pretty hilarious. So you leave Cambodia, you come back, you've got the mint. So the mint happened. Oh no, this is after the That's right. You sold the mint.
Yeah, no, this is where I'm like, I don't know what to do with myself. So I went back to school.
Is this leading to Foo?
Yes.
Eventually, like all that journey through the heart of darkness.
Yes, they do. They do. Yeah. So basically what I did is I came home and I didn't know if I wanted to live in Victoria. And my best friend who I went to meet in Taiwan told me that he's not coming back. So I knew eventually he was going to land in Calgary because that's where his lady, his wife now of 20 years, that's where she's from. So I went to Calgary for a year.
Okay. Oh, nice.
And I worked 3 jobs.
Still food?
Yeah, all food. I was a manager in a pub. I served at 2 different places. And I paid off my student loan. Most people did it in Taiwan. I did it in Calgary. And then realized Calgary wasn't for me in the process. And so then I came back to Victoria and went to Camosun College to their environmental sciences program.
So what was your idea going there for that?
I just wanted to
do something. You wanted to get.
So one of my closest friends in Australia, he's coming here in a couple weeks. He's one of my oldest and longest friends. He's an environmental scientist.
Oh, interesting.
And he came with me to Cambodia after I'd already kind of went and made all the connections. Yeah. And he had suggested we could get an international grant to get a pilot project for renewable energy source in Cambodia. And that really excited me. Like, I was just like, we could make such a difference. We put a recycling program in place because there was plastic everywhere. And
way ahead of your time, man.
Well, thank you.
Always.
Right? No, seriously.
That's a theme with you, Sterling.
But then he became very afraid and backed out, and I couldn't do it alone. So then I was like, well, I want to make a difference.
Yeah.
And then I was sitting in an auditorium with a whole bunch of 18 and 19-year-olds who were texting and talking, and all I wanted to do was take in I was just so frustrated.
Yeah, you're just like, where can I go with this?
Yes. So I just started working. Oh, no, what ended up happening is my girlfriend broke up with me. So all of a sudden I had a mortgage that I had to pay myself.
Yeah.
And it meant I had to work more. And that was and then that's when I thought about, I was working at Brasserie Le Cole, and I'm like, I worked at Ferris's for 6 weeks. Then I worked at Pescatories for 11 months, and then I got a job finally at Brasserie Le Cole, the first place I applied when I came back to Victoria. They finally hired me, and thanks Dave Craigs, and it was amazing. And from there, I'm like, so this is what I do, and I want to do something innovative in this field because it's the one I know, and that's why I decided to try to do high-end food without the front of house, so that you could, like, I mean, when we opened Foo, it was $9 for almost all our dishes, and
you were paying people well too, because I mean, you took a lot of our stuff, right? Which is but it's innovative because you look at minimum wages and you look at living wages and all that stuff. Now, this is where I want to draw some attention to Sterling, because you often.
So there was one point in time we sent a picture to Peter, your business partner, and they had like 4 Zambri's cooks with Foo shirts.
Exactly. I remember seeing that.
But yeah, no, we paid, I think, the highest wage in the city there for a little while.
Yeah.
But again, from my perspective, so yes, I have some radical ideas of how to fix our industry, and a big part of it was cooks work long, ridiculous hours. A lot of times they don't get paid overtime. Yeah. They have to work when they're sick. And I thought, hey, why don't we just let's take, and I'm sorry, I am a front of house guy, but I'm like, let's take the front of house out of it.
Yeah.
And charge what we need to charge and pay the cooks what they should be getting paid.
Yeah. And make it a cook-centric.
Yeah, exactly what I tried doing. Yeah. And it worked for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you've got a partner.
My business partner, Patrick Lynch, is a chef by trade. So I knew what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And to be straight up with you, we didn't do everything I wanted to do. I wanted, where everything went during COVID, that was my master plan when we opened Foo, is I wanted to have our food retail. I wanted to sell our sauces.
Yeah.
But, you just kind of get bogged down in life. But so I knew what I wanted to do. So then I started looking for a chef who could execute it.
Yeah.
And Patrick, they had just closed Sanook.
Oh, right. Yes. Yeah, that's right.
I worked with his fiance, Becky, at Pescatories. So she's like, why don't you sit down with Patrick? So I'm like, this is my concept, is high-end takeout without the front of house. And he brought his menu.
Yeah.
And that was the birth of Foo?
Yeah, that's the birth of Foo.
And how did you get that location? Because it's unique. If people aren't from Victoria it's and don't know it, it's it's a trailer in a parking lot to be.
So what it used to be, what it is a giant cooler.
Cooler for the hotel.
No, it used to be a beer and wine store.
Oh, was it a beer and wine store?
Yeah, when I first moved here, it was a beer and wine. And you'd walk in the doors.
Oh my, yes,
and
I
then
remember
you'd walk
that.
in. It was a giant walk-in cooler. You get whatever you want. Walk in one door, walk out the other, and pay.
Yeah, that's right. I remember that.
So I looked at it, and it was like, in those days, it was like boarded up. And so Patrick and I were literally signing a lease for a place in Market Square. I think it's
was Eric Bramble doing the lease with you?
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love Eric Bramble.
Yeah, Eric's
He's awesome.
Yeah.
But I'm like, Patrick, let's not sign this. He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, I think we should take a run at that other spot. And he's like, so we basically, excuse me for a second, Eric. We kind of stepped aside, and we had this. And he's like, you're right. I think it's like so. We basically walked away from signing. The lease was in front of us, and we took a run at that spot and got it. And it's on the corner of Blanchard and Yates. And to be honest, I don't think Foo would have had the success it did if it wasn't that location.
Yeah, that location is really good. But I think, I mean, when you talk about food service, like obviously it helps building the brand and the awareness and having that visibility,
but also
but the food quality is there, right?
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
But like, for example, Patrick and I, when we opened Foo, we had $20 in the bank.
Yeah.
Like we needed to make money. We needed to make money immediately.
Like right away.
Yeah. And like, for example, Avatar just came out. And when Avatar came out, the lineups to see Avatar at both theaters was ridiculous. And everyone came to Foo. And that was kind of like how
you just got out of the blocks quick.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And so you're still partners with Patrick at Foo?
Yeah, Patrick's also got Boomtown now, which is an awesome little concept. It's
how did you guys navigate that? Because obviously in some partnerships, because obviously we're a business centric show, there's non-compete clauses. But I mean, you went off and opened up another brand yourself too.
Yeah.
Right?
So basically, I think my mic keeps cutting out here, but
oh, you're good. You're good.
So I don't know how Patrick felt about me opening Part and Parcel.
Yeah.
But I didn't need a chef because Grant, my business partner, was the chef.
Yeah.
And
so did you guys have some discussions around that? Or?
I told him I was working on it. And he actually, he looked at the location before we looked at it for Foo, and he said, I'm like, before we go any further, I'm thinking about taking the space. Do you want the space? Like,
do you want it for Foo? Or?
Foo has precedence because we looked at it first.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was really supportive. I mean, I'm really lucky that he was really supportive. And to be honest, we've both supported each other a lot in our next endeavors. We've done a couple other things by ourselves that failed.
Yeah.
And, now we've both done something that succeeded because Part and Parcel had great success and Boomtown is killing it.
Yeah,
man.
Boomtown's killing it.
And I'm super happy for him. That location they have, like it's like the most densely populated spot in Victoria.
So you're not part of Boomtown?
I am not. No.
Oh, I thought you were.
No. We even share a chef. Like our chef is from Foo, is his chef as well.
Bounce around.
Maybe that's why I knew there was a connection. I thought you were more
No, I think probably, Foo helps Pinhalla, and I think Foo probably helps Boomtown a little in the start, but
But I think that's all a part of, like Zambries obviously had a big influence on Big Wheel.
Sure.
And when our sort of cooperation, because unlike Sam, who's dabbled in partnerships before, our whole business and your career is based on building good partnerships. And also having that understanding of, okay, well, we're doing this together. For us, we're doing it together because we had already set that precedent at the beginning.
Right.
I came from a business background, my partner, Peter, and Joe was my wife at the time. But Peter could pursue other opportunities and that in that area. So I wanted to make sure that whatever we did in the food business, we kind of had the right of first refusal to do other things. I wanted to do Big Wheel Burger desperately. Yeah. They were like, well, why are we doing, and then.
Well, now it's the thing.
Yeah. Now it's a good, but sometimes you're getting pulled by your partners and sometimes you got to pull your partners.
Dude, partnership is super challenging.
Yeah. But I think your approach, and I guess in some way my approach, even when Joe and I got divorced, we had all these businesses, all these employees, and we're like, okay, well, at property, we're like, okay, what are we going to do here? Well,
we handled it really well, though.
Yeah, I mean, we stayed friends. She's still one of my best friends.
She's great.
And you put the work in one way or the other. So with you and Patrick, you're either putting the work in on your relationship there and also understanding and take some forgiveness. Right?
Again, much like the Mint, at early stages of Foo, there was some ego and growing and headbutting, but I think now, we're old and we've gone through a lot of stuff together. Like Foo's 15 years old, and Patrick was there when my mom got sick. Yeah, and we've supported each other through a whole bunch of stuff, and it was funny one day because he and I used to butt heads a lot. I don't know if he knows that because I was not confrontational, but we butted heads a lot. We have different philosophies in the start, and I watched him grow up and mature, and I'm really proud of the guy he is today. But one day I said that one of our cooks was complaining about Patrick, and I'm like, you know what I realized? Patrick's my best friend.
Yeah,
I'm like, how did that happen?
Spend enough time with the guy, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's what makes good partnerships. And it's it's like you can tell when you got a best friend when you can sit beside each other and not say a word.
Oh man,
and not feel awkward and not
You alluded to the fact that I have partnerships, and my first partnership I won't talk about. But
Yeah.
My second partnership was a real education for me, and it was with a very successful gentleman. And when he approached me to do a partnership, I said, I don't want to be a partner because I explained what happened in my previous one. He's like, well, I don't want to be your friend. I just want to be your partner.
Yeah.
I'm like, and that just changed my whole view of it. It's like, so you can be best friends with your partner, and that can work really well.
Yeah.
But if you're not going to be like really close and best friends and be able to share that much, then I would say it needs to be very straightforward and not a friendship relationship, but a really calculated relationship.
Well, I think you need to build in those non-competes. You need to think of a structure.
You have to remove the gray area.
Yeah, the gray area can't be there. You need to know what the bad times could look like, and you need to anticipate it and just build that system. You put it in an agreement, a shareholder agreement, and you put it in your drawer, and then just go about your business.
If you take the gray area out, it stops your mind from having places to freaking
exactly.
wander.
And you start looking for monsters underneath the,
there has to be trust. If you don't have trust, it's just. But I will say that I don't know if it's similar to yourself, but what I have learned, like I don't have all the skills.
Yeah.
So one of my
exactly.
gifts or one of my strengths is I find the people that can do the things I can't, and then I try to let them do it. I offer. I'm not very aggressive, so my my CTO from Axio once said to me, or just to someone else, when Sterling makes a suggestion, he's telling you to do it.
Yeah.
So like, I'll be like, this is what I think we should do. So
like read between the lines, do it now.
Yeah. That's kind of what I'm. Anyways, so but I also like work with people I trust and let them do what they can do, and that's kind of why I've had successes.
Well, I think that's just a tremendous attribute to leadership. Like you can't build businesses or companies unless you let off the reins. And sometimes you could go, well, I would have made a different decision, but that's a learning opportunity.
Sure. But
you can't expand and grow. Like you've only got so many hours in the day and so much work and so much skill. Like I bring business acumen and experience to the table. I've learned stuff about the service and hospitality along the way, but that's not my specialty. So having people, paddling the canoe with their skill set is critical, especially when you're expanding and growing 100%. Businesses and wanting to do other things, right?
There are certain people that do micromanage because it does get in the way, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree too.
And when you say you're able to find the right people, I couldn't agree with you more. I think when I think about you, Sterling, I think about someone who knows a lot of people, is friendly with so many people in the industry. Way more people than I'll ever know in the industry. I think so. And you really feel like you've got a natural talent and attraction to the right people, or people are just attracted to you, maybe.
Well, I don't know exactly how it works. All I know that any success I've had, and I like the idea of doing new and pushing things forward. And I've just found people that are doing you wanted to talk about Axio.
Yeah.
So Andrew Wilkinson came to Brass. He used to eat at Brasserie Locale all the time.
Yeah.
And he's like, hey, he hands me this business card. He's like, you got to try this service this weekend. So these kids decided over a weekend that they wanted to create this company. So originally all it was a card with a phone number, and you would text them whatever you wanted, and then they'd go and get it for you.
Yeah.
So
they text you back and say, I got it.
Yeah. It'll be this much. Do you want us to do it? Then you text back, yes. So basically, I was working 3 jobs, or I owned 2 businesses, and was working at Brasserie Locale.
That's crazy, yeah.
So I was working like 90 hours a week, and I was, 90 hours a week. Oh, but I loved food. Yeah. But after working 90 hours a week, I didn't want to step foot outside my condo and make eye contact with a human. And I love you all, but it's just after giving everything you have for 90 hours a week, you just don't have anything.
You were like one of our best customers during COVID.
Shit, yeah.
You probably still are.
I'm so happy you guys opened for lunch again, because I missed the chicken cutlet sandwich.
Yes.
So let me tell you, Zambri's chicken cutlet sandwich with either the salad mista or their Caesar salad, where they have the best Caesar salad in the city. It's amazing.
I love it. I love it.
So basically I texted this guy and started eating a bizo, almost like multiple.
So were they doing food right out of the gate, or were they going to like IKEA? Or
they were a concierge service that would do anything you wanted.
Yeah.
And so
that
Andrew Wilkinson
gave me really good.
Oh, it was, dude. So Andrew Wilkinson gave me this card, and all of a sudden I instantly became probably their second or third best customer.
Yeah.
So the guy who owned it and started it is a really smart kid by the name of, he's probably not a kid anymore, he's probably in his 40s now. But his name is Mike Rowe. I think we had a meeting with you.
Of course.
Yeah,
yes.
we had a meeting with you.
That's right.
Because I tried getting Zambri's on board. And I think we were getting close to getting you. Anyways, so he found out who I was. So he would make sure to deliver my food. And then he would ask me questions. I'd answer the door and he'd like ask me like 5 or 6. I'm like, oh my God, leave me alone, man. I'm tired. But anyways, I love the business model so much that during one of his question seminars, I'm like, listen, man, I love what you do. If you want to sit down and have a meeting, I would love to work with you, but I'm not going to keep.
Just give.
I'm using your service because I don't want to talk. You know. So anyways, we had the meeting and I became a partner.
I remember sitting at the brasserie bar and you were talking to me about Axio, and you're doing at that time you're doing that central kitchen and we
had the commissary
kitchen, and I just kept thinking to myself, you're so far ahead of your time that it's not going to work. But it didn't. But it would. What I loved about it is the energy behind it, and also the visionary, right? Because I was just like, man, this is a really good idea. It's a good concept, but the scalability of it is sort of the
the thing was
but to get into it,
much like Foo. Axio took a step even forward. We were paying 25% more than anyone else in the city. And we had 4-day work weeks. We had benefits, this is all the things I feel so passionate about.
I love that.
And we started before Skip the Dishes got here. And then all of a sudden we were going head to head with like these giant companies. So that's when we pivoted and decided to do a ghost kitchen. And we had, in my opinion, we had the best takeout I've ever had in my life. We had. But the cool thing about you talk about being scalable is I had concept leads. So we had 4 concepts. We had like a bistro concept with like bowls, salads, sandwiches. We had Italian. We had the burger. Our burger was great. And our fries were awesome. But each one of those guys was a chef. So we were ready to launch 4 new instantly because each one of those persons or people could have gone and been the chef of the next Axio.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
But in fairness, like, understand that I was part of a collective. Micro and his crew, Paul and Corey and Carla, they're all hardworking and smart, and they saw the trend. And when I saw what they saw, it blew my mind. But I can't say that it was my idea.
No, but I mean, visionary attracts visionary. Like, obviously, when you start talking about the dialogue of what the idea is, then if you've got that sort of vision yourself, you can build on it, and then you guys can work together. It's like a storm that hits another storm, and then now you have a super storm. I think it's that level of energy that is required to be successful, but also maybe I wouldn't say, like, not every failure is a mistake. Like, you can look back at it and maybe there's some things that you've learned.
Oh my God, Kalen.
But it's education too. Like, how much did you learn through that process?
I've learned so much. Yeah. But I would love to have learned so much of being a millionaire. But we were undercapitalized, and
I think that's the key. That was one of my thoughts on it at the beginning, was it's going to require a lot of capital.
Would there ever be enough capital to make that work? Because I mean, you're competing with Skip the Dishes and Uber and DoorDash.
Well, again, I think
infinite amounts of capital.
I would have stayed with the ghost kitchen.
Yeah.
Like, takeout COVID has jacked up takeout to a new monster that it never was.
Yeah, I mean, it's 50 or 60% of our business. Like it with Big Wheel.
Yeah.
I mean, with obviously, most of your business at Foo is takeout.
It is, but we only so we were obviously part of Axio.
Yeah.
But after Axio closed, we literally signed on to DoorDash 3 weeks ago or a month ago.
Oh, wow.
We haven't done delivery.
Wow. Interesting.
Yeah, we haven't needed to.
Yeah, no, well, you've got that built in. So how is that impacting Foo right now?
Well, honestly, all I wanted from it, Caitlin, was in the winter for us to stay roughly what we do in the summer.
Yeah.
So when it's busy, we just turn it off.
Yeah.
We're not going to tax our staff.
Yeah.
Because they don't get any tips, basically.
Yeah, that's right.
We're not going to tax our staff beyond their
what
capabilities. Yeah. So it's just to give us that extra little bit during slow times, and that's what it's doing.
Yeah. So that's great. And you also, with Foo, you still have that location in Calgary?
No, we sold it. So my actual best friend, no disrespect to Patrick.
Yeah.
But my best friend, Mark, was our managing partner. He's the guy who I went to Taiwan with.
Yeah.
And we sold it, and he's now home running this Foo and is my partner in Pinhalla.
So he's now not in Calgary running food. He's now in Victoria running food.
And to be honest, on a personal level, my life, having my best friend home.
Oh my goodness.
Because we haven't lived together since 2006, where before that he was like my roommate in Vancouver, my roommate in Victoria, my roommate in Taiwan. So just having my best friend home has just
amazing.
Changed my life.
And how does that impact your work relationship?
Yeah, I mean,
just like another partner.
No, I mean, obviously, I think with your best friend, I think we probably get hotter than I would with someone else because you don't have
like
to
your brother.
Yeah. So, and also you know each other so well, you know each other's weaknesses and strengths.
Yeah.
But he's one of the hardest workers, and he's smart and awesome, and I'm just so happy to have him home.
Like, are you more eager to like grow business or expand business or do other things, knowing that you've got
100%
your buddy here who's got your back, you trust?
Pinhalla is one step in our empire we're going to build the next decade.
Wow. Oh, amazing! And if you haven't been to Pinhalla, go to Pinhalla. We were there. We had our Zambries.
Thank you. The Zambries came like our first week we were open for their staff party, which was awesome.
Yeah, and it's just you did such a good job. I remember that location, that particular spot. I think it was owned by the Liu family.
Still is.
Still
Liu
is.
boy.
Yeah, and yes, and we were looking at that to put Victoria like a market. So myself, Andrew Moyer, and Frank D'Ambrosio were going to open up. We were going to call it the Black Market.
Very cool.
And we were looking at that spot. So
demolition clause is probably why you didn't do it.
Well, exactly. But when I look at it now, thinking back, because one of the big things is like that was the only spot that we thought a market could work, because you could look at the Victoria Public Market and it's just like. Not the right location. No. And we were probably this was like maybe it was 2002 or 2004 or something, probably 2004 that we're looking at doing this. I think that spot would have been incredible. But you've done an amazing. I walked in there, I was just like, is this the same? Because it was basically like a pawn shop for decades.
Forever, yeah. And then was the Upgrade Labs biohacking facility.
Oh, that's right.
That was ill conceived.
Well, we're reaping the benefits of what his vision was, because he spent almost $3.8 million renovating that building that he doesn't own or didn't own. And that they would never sell him because they own the whole corner.
Exactly. Well, that was one of the other things too. They as a family they're awesome,
so nice.
But that will be in their family for 200 or 300 more years. Like they're not getting rid of any of it, right? Which is
hopefully. I mean, we signed there's a demolition clause in our lease, which was what held us from jumping with
with both feet.
It was
like 1 foot. Oh,
but I mean, again, the upgrades were there.
Yeah.
So.
Well, so you didn't have to spend the $3 million.
No. So basically, what happened is Peter Pusa went in when they went bankrupt and bought all their equipment, stuck it in a storage locker, knowing he'd need it someday. So we just bought it back from him, put it all back in place.
Hilarious!
Yeah.
Oh, Peter's awesome.
Yeah, he's wicked. I love that guy.
So
Floyd Steiner.
Pinhalla, for those listeners who maybe not know what that is.
Yeah. So
you wanted to give a good description of what your business is.
So my business partner, Steve Webb, started Quasar's Arcade. It's actually started Vancouver Island Arcade Amusements. We have a rental fleet and we do all sorts of things.
Yeah.
But he has Quasar's Arcade. So he was trying to create Quasar's 2.0, and we took a space on Lower Yates, one up from the block, and that fell through.
Like the location fell through.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what happened is he had the pinball club, the Powerhouse Pinball Club, in the Powerhouse building.
Yeah.
And the city shut him down.
What?
So we had
zoning issue.
Yeah. I can't go into it now, but after the cameras turn off, we can talk.
Yeah.
So he had basically 34 pinball machines sitting there collecting dust. So we're like, we should get those working.
Yeah.
So we took this a beautiful building on the bottom of Chinatown, 516 Fisgard, across the street from Eva Schnitzel House. Oh. And we have one room has 34 pinball machines and 5 classic arcade cabinets, and the other side's a pizzeria.
Which is awesome.
All right.
Yeah.
And how's it going? Like you've been open like a month?
3 weeks.
3 weeks, yeah.
So almost, yeah. So we don't have our liquor license yet.
Yeah.
Which is challenging to say the least, and especially because it's not on the horizon. We've got our application in, but they say they're backlogged, so who knows how long it's going to take. So what we've been doing is getting special events permits for the weekend. And this last weekend with Chinese New Year festivities was
it unreal?
Unreal. Yeah, I know.
So how are you handling with the staff? Like, you've got enough staff?
The
systems, it's like starting to crumble because you're...
Yeah, we basically are trying to do it ourselves.
Yeah.
And, try to keep our costs low because we don't have the revenue of liquor. And so, this weekend was really, was challenging, but a very positive. But
kind of remind you of the old days?
Yeah, it did. But, and also I saw, holes where we need to, that's how you see it. You have to get busy. So, I see where we can improve it. But overall, I'm really proud of it. It looks great. I think it's going to be another institution, I hope.
Yeah, I think I enjoyed it when I was there. And obviously we had ate at the Schnitzel house across the street. But I'd like to try the pizza. And the thing about it is, if you make good pizza, I mean, there's a lot of pizza in town, but the combination, obviously, when you get a liquor license too, pizza and beer, and then the gaming, like it's kind of a throwback to bowling, where you've got an activity and, people, that's even better because then you can go to your own pinball. You've got 36 pinball machines, right?
So I was saying to Sam today before you got here, that I'd kind of sworn off restaurants.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to do it anymore. But the pinball aspect makes it work for me. Because it's just another revenue stream in the restaurant. And, once I'm really happy with our pizza. It's different than any other pizza in the town.
Which is, I think, important.
I would say the closest we'd be like to is Serena's.
Yeah.
But, it's different.
Yeah.
So, we're going to launch on the delivery app hopefully next week.
Oh, excellent.
So, if we can be doing
like
pizza,
with DoorDash?
Yeah. If we can be doing pizza, in-house delivery, and then the video games.
Yeah, you've kind of got the three.
As soon as you add the alcohol, we're gonna hopefully.
Well, there's a lot of catering opportunities too, I would imagine.
Well, we also, I don't know if you know this, guys, or not, but at Quasar's Arcade, we have what's called the Gamma Room. And it is amazing. It's this little room that has 15 arcade cabinets and 3 pinball machines, and people rent it for parties.
Oh,
for
interesting.
birthdays and stuff.
What the kind of capacity?
15 kids.
Oh, awesome.
And so basically, if you don't want to have a birthday party at home, having your house destroyed, come and destroy the Gamma Room.
Right, it's built for it.
But the cool thing is, so at Pinhalla, we do, she makes homemade Hostess cupcakes and homemade Twinkies and homemade Twix bars. Oh, so man. Eventually you're going to be able to book the Gamma Room and click, yes, I'd like a Twix bar for every kid. I'd like to order pizzas. I'd like to have, the beverages.
Like just a package.
Yeah. I mean, you can have the bare bones one if you want. I mean, we don't want to eliminate, or make anyone feel like they shouldn't come. It just, but if you want to spend the $200 or if you want to spend $5, you'll have the option.
So feel free to spend as much as you
100%.
So what now the business end of it? Like, are you involved in the Quasars?
Yes.
As well. Okay. So
I own a percentage of Vancouver Island Arcades Amusements, which owns Pinhalla and Quasars.
Oh, perfect. So now, have you owned that since the beginning?
No. So Steve started it 5 years ago.
Yeah.
He did have a different partner who has since gone back to LA. So Steve and his brother were the remaining shareholders. And he's taken, the hilarious thing is he's taken a group of partners on, and it's all Steamers alumni.
Oh, really? Did Steve work at Steamers too?
Yeah. So basically, back in the day, the reason Steve and I hooked up is Steve was a cook at Steamers, and again, if you want to, I'll talk about how I think cooks have had an unfair existence.
Yeah, I agree.
So I pulled him out and trained him how to bartend for free during my shifts.
Oh, amazing.
So eventually he became a bartender at Steamers, and then we started promoting and he was, and then Andrew Wickens is our partner, the guy who owned Steamers.
Yeah.
Sean Taylor, who was our head door guy. Yeah.
Hilarious.
Wow, it is an alumni.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, and it's, when you look at all the web of all the connections and the people and long standing in Victoria.
Right? It was funny. Sam was saying, talking about Greg, one of your earlier.
Greg Hayes.
Yeah. I mean, you talk about the history and the roots of Victoria. I'll be talking to one of my staff who are like in her 20s, and she just has no idea how like this person and all the connections and how deep they go.
Yeah. And how it all relates. Like a web, right?
Yeah,
You're
it's a
saying,
total web. And even
Absolutely.
we had Peter Zambri on, and the like long-standing history of friendship.
Yeah.
Really, like this common purpose in the hospitality industry. But I think the one thing, we're all friends,
Sure.
Yeah.
you know, and we all want to support each other, and we're
Well-
all actively working to help each other succeed.
So I think there's like-minded people like us who are drawn together and the friends, and then there's kind of like the outsiders who,
the outliers.
yeah, the outliers, and
Yeah.
they have different philosophies and
Yeah.
different business practices. And if you move here, their place might seem like a glamorous place to work, and then you work there and you kind of get. Eventually, you move on to someone who actually cares.
Yeah, and I think that's where the heart and soul of the businesses, and the reason why these institutions have lasted for as long as they've lasted, because of that.
Mhm.
Treating people right, doing right for the community, and being focused on that first.
yeah, caring.
Right? Caring, and truthfully caring. Like, I mean, we all want to make money, we all want to provide a living, but I think all of us approach it in a way where you're being true to the community and to yourself, and just passing on those values. And you know, when you've got a decision between right and wrong, you always choose the right one, even if it costs you.
Even if it's
You know,
hard, yeah.
Yeah,
And that
sometimes it's
breeds
hard.
longevity in this industry, really, doesn't it?
It does.
I mean,
Well,
we
and you think about how you
started
started, and I think this is a good way to sort of bring this episode to a wrap, is you made a decision not to, you got into disagreement with your original partner. You made a decision
To go quietly
to
into
go
the night.
quietly into the night. You needed to go away to like Camp Bodie far off land.
I did a whole bunch of soul searching.
Yeah,
on
to
that.
soul search in order to do that. But how rewarding is it? Because that attitude is what I think, in my opinion, allows you to do the business that you do now with partners and friends and
Well,
all of those relationships that you cultivate, right?
funny story, and this will be my end, is I think Michael had some pretty hard feelings, understandably.
Yeah.
And I one day said to him, I don't know, it was like probably 20 years later, and I was just like, hey, I just wanted to say, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You had some innovative ideas.
Yeah.
And I'm super impressed. Like, you were ahead of your time, and you created, and it was just, I think it was nice for him, because I think he got closure, and I think he actually, I think we kind of came together. And
Yeah, buried a hatchet.
yeah, because I think he had some hard feelings. Because again, he was trying to, he didn't
Push the
have,
envelope.
and he also didn't have what we discussed. He didn't know that, because we kind of were angry and went in our own separate directions for 20 years, right?
Yeah.
He didn't know that I actually held him in respect and
Yeah.
felt bad about how things played out, and took ownership of my own role in it.
Yeah, I
He's
think
just
that's
lucky
key.
that he doesn't ride a bike.
Bring it full circle.
That's where I thought you were going with that, actually.
Yeah, you didn't run him over. But I think that is, we talk about the Bread and Butter Collective, and we've been now doing it for 4 years, and meeting regularly and talking business, and talking some of the hardships. But I think leaving everybody on the note of, even 20 years later, it's okay to admit when you were wrong, to apologize, and to mend bridges, because we're only on this, we got one trip around the globe, or 100 trips, or however many times we go around in a year.
But if you don't, you're also carrying that around yourself.
Exactly. It's a way, you probably
It's a
felt better
burden.
by having that, right?
When I was in Taiwan, before I came home, I literally reached out to everyone I thought I had done wrong, or had negative sentiment that might. So I reached out to everyone and took my ownership of whatever was in it, and because I didn't want to carry those sad, bad feelings around anymore.
Yeah, I love that.
And again, I don't think I was a bad guy or anything.
No, but listen, everybody approaches different situations with what they bring to the table. And if you leave it and you have some regret or some anxiety about any of it, it's far better to try to park that and get it off your chest. And a lot of times, it's just about confronting it with the person that you may have an issue with.
Yeah, well, just when you're
just dealing
busy
with
and
it.
you're tired,
Yeah.
or you're drunk.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just not the best, even of yourself.
No,
right?
you say things you don't mean, and you all those things. So I think that's a good lesson in business and life.
I think so. And I think, like I said before, I think you're the kind of guy who attracts certain caliber of people, and you are a product of the 5-6 people that you surround yourself with, and it looks like you've been doing that really well for a long time.
Oh, thanks, Sam. That's nice.
Yeah, and it's awesome. And
It shows,
you've paid me compliments
Dude, you're the
before.
best.
What? No.
So are you, by the way.
But
You can't both be the
no,
best.
we're all
arm
let's
wrestler.
arm wrestle. I am actually a really good arm wrestler. So
I bet
just
you are. I bet you are.
But I wanted to give you the props too, because you have formed, I think it's such an underrated quality to be able to be in these partnerships and relationships, be successful, and build teams, you know, and you've done that like amazingly.
Not to say it's not challenging.
Oh, it's worse.
It's never without
Right.
a challenge, right? And, that's
And
what
especially
makes
when
it-
you're doing the right thing, because the right thing, it's always easy. The right thing's hard. You know, the wrong thing is always easier.
But
Right?
but what are you left with?
Yeah. What
you're-
are you left with?
It's short-lived.
Short-lived. Sam,
All right.
great episode.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Sterling.
Thanks for having me,
This
Roland.
was
That's great,
another, we're packing up some really good shows. I love it.
right?
Yeah, this was awesome. Yeah. We're
Yeah.
digging deep into the, you know, the inner workings of the hospitality on Southern Vancouver Island.
Yeah, we're pulling back the curtains, and the people we're pulling back the curtains on are great
Yeah, they're awesome.
and fully clothed.
And thankfully,
Thank God.
Actually, we're not wearing any pants. You guys just can't see it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Don't stand up. Don't stand up. Oh, shoot. Awesome. Well, thank you, everybody. Thanks for listening. Thank you, Sam.
Thanks, Kaylin.
Remember to be kind.
Yeah, I will. You be nice.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bread and Butter Collective's membership includes the following local businesses: 2% Jazz, Bunny's Kitchen, Buzz Coffee House, Eagle-Ite, Big Wheel Burger, Blue Mountain Solutions, Bodega Tapas Wine Bar, Eva Schnitzel House, Farmsgate Foods and Catering, Victoria Chocolate and Company, Drum Roaster Coffee, Habit Coffee, Foo Asian Street Food, the Culinary Arts Program at Camosun, Cafe Fantastico, Fall Epi, Harold Street Brewworks, Hey Happy, House of Botang, Nikkei Ramen Ya, Jenny Marie's Cracker Company, La Pasta, La Rue Patisserie, Mocha House, Part and Parcel, Poco a Pinto Bar, Pizzeria Prima Strada, Keating Pizza, Roast, Table 9 Consulting, Sherwood Cafe and Bar, Sweets by Selena, The Collective Wine Bar and Kitchen, The Drake, Tapa Bar, The Nimble Bar Company, Ruth and Dean, The Whole Beast, The Wienery, Spoon's Diner, Truffles Inspired Catering, and Zambries.
To hear more from the Bread and Butter Collective, go to checknews.ca/podcasts on Check Plus, or find us on your favorite podcasting platform.